seat of our children's lives. And us being in the driver's seat is going to take the work, right? It's going to take a focused energy to get that done. It's not going to be able to get done with us just wandering, right? We got to have a focused energy, and that's what these classes is about. It's about us getting that focused energy. So what did we start with, right? We started with the foundation of this fatherhood piece, right? It started with us. Remember the first session? What type of father am I going to deliver to my children? Understanding what type of father that I'm going to deliver to my children so I can get it done. The first place that it starts is us thinking about, man, what type of father am I going to deliver to my children? How do we get that done? We do reflections, right? We reflect on our past, looking at our interactions that we've had with our parents when we were younger that left the positive feelings inside of us when we were younger, right? And once we identify those positive interactions that we've had with our parents, what do we do with those positive interactions?
Duplicate that with our children.
Absolutely right. We duplicate it with our children. Why? Because we already know it to be right. If it's right, why we gotta fix it? So we do the same exact thing that was right with us with our children. This is applicable stuff. It just takes us having the mind to be focused on doing that which is right and establishing that strong positive relationship. So now, after I look at the positive and I duplicate the positive, now what do I do?
Look at the negatives to avoid going through that with your children.
Absolutely right. I identify the negative and then I resist the negative. But it starts with me identifying the negative. That means that I got to look at the things that gave me the negative feelings when I was a child, when I was interacting with my parents. And then I'm going to say, man, you know what? I'm going to resist that negative. That means that if I looked out in the stands and I didn't see my parents out there for my basketball games or my football games and it left those negative feelings inside of me, I'm going to say, man, I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that I'm at my children's dance recitals, I'm at my children's basketball games, I'm at my children's football games. Why? Because I understand that when that happened to me, it gave me negative feelings. So if it happens to my children, what will it give them? Negative feelings, right? It's going to do the same exact thing. So then that's why it is so important that we resist from giving that to our children, right? I used to be hollered at, and my father, he did a lot of things right, but one of the things that he did was used to scream, and it used to make us feel like that our lives was in jeopardy. So when he used to scream, I used to be like, dang, that's crazy. So now, when things happen with my children and they do wrong or whatever may be the case, I'm not screaming.
You know, so crazy, I just had this conversation with my son's mom. I'm like, she pretty much was like, oh yeah, well, your son's mouth getting out of hand. And I'm like, okay, you yelling at him. One, he sees you yelling and all that. He's duplicating that. Take a different approach. Calmly talk to him about what is going on, because you wouldn't want nobody to yell at you. You'll feel some type of way.
No doubt.
So he's going to feel that type of way, and he's going to manipulate what he sees you doing.
No doubt.
So it's like, nah, look, calm yourself down.
Right.
You know, all that extra. For one, you just blowing yourself up for no reason. Like, take it down some notches, right, and let him understand. Because when you're yelling, they're not even looking at the words. It's the tone.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're not paying attention. They're not understanding the words. It's just that tone. All right, I'm in trouble. Shit hit the fan.
Right,
like,
right.
So it's like, nah, calm it down. So then, for one, he can identify where he went wrong.
Right.
And not make the same mistake.
Right. And correct it, right?
Right.
But you don't want them to be in a place, or her to be in a place to where they like, man, forget you, and I'm going to continue to do it again, right? As soon as I get the opportunity, right? So you don't want them to be in that place to where they're not even really looking at the wrong that they did because they feel in a certain type of way. It's too much clouds going on in their heads to even look at the wrong, because they looking at the wrong that you giving them. They focused on how you interacting with them, and they saying, man, you know what, they completely shut down, and they can't even correct their errors because of the way that you interacting with them. That is crazy. That is crazy. So now that's what I do. I intentionally make sure that I resist doing that negative with my children. And this takes our mind. And the reason why the mother does that is because she's operating out of her feelings, right? Her feelings is dominating her behavior. And the only reason why her feelings is dominating her behavior because she hasn't put the right information into her mind so her mind can be strong enough to dominate her behavior. Fellas, if you do not put the right information into your mind will not be strong enough to dominate your behavior. And if your mind is not strong enough to dominate your behavior, you know what will take control of your behavior? Your feelings.
Your feelings.
And feelings are unstable. You feel good today, you feel bad tomorrow, right? You know how that goes. You'll wake up and be like, I ain't feeling it today. And if your behavior is dictated by your feelings, you will offer the inconsistency that a strong relationship will not tolerate. You gotta make sure that your mind is driving the relationship. But you got to make sure that your mind is strong enough to drive the relationship. If your mind isn't strong enough, your feelings will drive the relationship, and you'll be like, man, you know what? I really don't feel like running no drills with my son because I'm tired. I really don't feel like doing movie night tonight because I'm tired. I'm under the weather, right? My feelings don't matter. What matters is my commitment that I made inside of my mind. And that's what dictates my behavior. So that's why it's so important that we have these conversations. That's why it's so important that we continue to focus on what type of father that we want to be, right? So we can get it done. That's the only way we're going to get it done. So after we look at the negative, we identify the negative, we resist the negative, we look at the positive, we duplicate the positive. The next thing that we do is what? We look outside of ourselves. We look at other fathers. We look at fathers on the movie screen. We look at fathers on the TV on TV shows and things like that. Fathers in the neighborhood. Other parents that are doing, things that we like, and we say, man, you know what, I'm going to adopt that. I'm going to adopt that and put that into my parenting as well, right? So when I see a father on the TV screen and I see a Wayans brothers and I like how he's a creative dad, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to apply that creativity to my fatherhood. Because I like how he's interacting with his children. So I'm going to be like, I'm going to do the same exact thing, right? I'm pulling from other fathers that I see to add to my parenting. So I'm making sure that I'm doing what? Giving my children the best me that I can possibly give them. The longest route to success is the shortcut. It's no shortcut to this game, fellas. There's no way that it's going to be done without the work. We got to put in the work. I can look at the ground all day long and say, man, produce me crop, ground. I am hungry. Produce me crop, ground. I need some food. And that ground will not respond to me. The only way that the ground will produce crops is how? Is if I plant the seed. I got to put in the work. That's what we got to do with this relationship. And it starts with us understanding what type of father that we are delivering to our children. That means that I'm going to do research. I'm going to talk to other fathers and hear what they got to say and see what they are doing. And I'm going to pull from them what I need to pull from them and apply it to my parenting. So now when my children are getting this father, they are getting a thought out father. They're not getting this lackluster father that's just wandering through their lives. They are getting an intentional and deliberate father, the best me that I can possibly give them. That's my investment.
Do you mind if I go to the restroom?
No doubt, no doubt, no doubt. That's my investment. That's what it's about. So after I look outside of myself and I look at other fathers and I do that, now the next stage is what? Understanding what type of adult that I want my children to become. What is the goals that I have for my children? What type of adult do I want my children to become? Right? So the first place was understanding the goals that I have for my children, right? Yeah. Now, what the goals that I have for myself as a father, now it's, man, what type of adult do I want my children to become? What are the goals that I have for my children, right? So what am I going to be doing while I'm interacting with my children? I have to have that focus. And I cannot compromise my goals for nothing in the world because I got to accomplish my goals, right?
Yes, sir.
So what was the first goal that we had?
Confidence.
Confidence.
Not arrogant.
Confidence and not arrogance, right? So I want my children to have confidence. And we base our goals based on their character, not what type of profession that we want them to be, right? We base it on the type of character that we believe will warrant success. Because everybody in here can say, without a shadow of a doubt, we want our children to be successful, right?
Definitely.
Everybody wants their children to be successful, right? Without a shadow of a doubt. So what is success? Success is meaning that they are in a good place when they are adults. Saying that, man, you know what? I like what I'm doing. I'm living my best life. That's where we want our children to be at. So one thing that we say is that, man, we don't want them to be a profession that we want to be. So I don't want my children to be a speaker because I'm a speaker. Because that's what's been put inside of me to be. That means that I don't have to, like, get twisted around to come here, right? I mean, I'm up literally at like 5, 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock. 1 second. I'm up like, no lie, man. I got up like about like 4 o'clock, like, man, is it time? You know, like, man, let me go ahead and give me another hour, right? Like, and then I'm waking up like, because I don't use no alarm clock. This is crazy. Like, when you doing something that you are supposed to do, you don't need no alarm clocks. You know the last time I used an alarm clock? I don't use no alarm clocks. I don't have no alarm clock. I kid you not. I pop up. It doesn't matter if I just went to bed at 3 o'clock. If it's at 5 o'clock, I'm popping up like, boom, let's get to it. I don't use no alarm clocks. I haven't used alarm clocks since I don't know when. Because I'm not waking up like, oh, I got to do this. I'm waking up like, I get to do this. It's a whole difference, man. I'm telling you, it is a difference. It gives you a certain level of energy that's needed to be able to be productive. Right? That's what I want my children to be able to feel. And how can they feel that if they are doing something that I want to do? They need to be tapping into what they want to do. What's inside of them. That is my responsibility, is to get them to focus on what it is that's inside of them, not what it is that's inside of me. Because what offers me this level of energy might not offer them that level of energy. They are individuals. I'm not trying to, create a clone, because they come to this earth with something to bring. And that is our responsibility, is to make sure that they offer to the earth what they have to bring, just like it is our responsibility to offer to the earth what we have to bring. Do you men understand that we all come to this earth with something to bring, literally, individually? That's why we are been created the way that we are. Look how we are, man. We are so valuable, it's ridiculous. And the reason why we don't live up to our value is because we don't think that we are valuable. That's why we continue to sell ourselves short and put ourselves on the clearance rack, because we don't understand ourselves to be valuable. When you think about it, look at us, man. All of our fingerprints on our hands are different. Every single fingerprint is different. It's not another fingerprint like this before us. It will not be another fingerprint like this after us. This is crazy. Our left side is different from our right side. And it's never been another one of these ever. You will not go to China. You will not go to Asia. You will not go to Africa. You will not go to Europe and find another dye. You will not find another you nowhere around. That's crazy. You cannot be duplicated. I don't care how good the scientists are. You cannot be duplicated. And anything that cannot be duplicated has got to be valuable. You are a one-on-one. So then that means you have something to offer. You was not just created just because. You was created for a purpose. To bring something. Our children were created for a purpose, to bring something. And just think about that responsibility all within itself. You are responsible to make sure that they offer to the world what they have to give the world.
Responsibility.
That's crazy. The greatest responsibility. Not only are you responsible for yourself, but you are responsible now in getting that child that mind that they need to have, so then they can be productive in life. Man, that is powerful. And a lot of times what I believe is that us as men, as mothers, we don't really understand how great that responsibility is. So then that's why we go at it in a lackluster way. And we say, hey man, whatever happens, happens. We be relaxed in our efforts. And if we are relaxed in our efforts, the job won't get done that need to get done. Because it's too great of a job. That's heavy duty. So, now once we start to understand, man, what type of adults that we want our children to become, we base it on their character, not the profession, right? Confidence is the first one. What's the second one?
Good decision making.
Good decision making. Why? Because we live by our
Decisions.
No, we live by, but we gotta live with what? The consequences. That means we make the decision like that, but the consequences is going to continue to be there. And that's what we gotta live with. So we wanna make sure that we invest that energy into understanding the consequences, because that's what we will have to live with. So we gotta say, man, you know what, is this a cool consequence for me to be able to live with? Right? And if it's not, then let me go ahead and do something different. Am I okay with the consequence? But I think that a lot of times we don't really invest all of that energy into understanding the consequences, and then we just make a decision like that off of a whim, and then when we get the consequences, and now we saying, man, hold up, I don't like that consequence. But guess what? You made the decision. Nobody made the decision but you. You made the decision. You said that I'm going to go ahead and shoot. I'm going to go ahead and get high. You said that. You made that decision. So you got to understand what the consequences are. And if you're not okay with the consequences, then you got to say, man, hold up. Man, let me do something different. Right? So I want my children to be good decision makers. I want them to also be what? Self-regulating. Regulate themselves.
Yes,
right now, I told my son, because I drop him off to his mom's on the weekends, this is a beautiful thing, man, just to have self-regulated children, right? It's good stuff. And he's building on himself, right? So I wake him up, and this brother gets straight up. He doesn't hit no snooze button. This brother gets straight up. Boom, okay, boom, and get dressed. Straight out the dead sleep. I'll be like, son, man, time to get up. Right? 6:30 in the morning, right? Everybody don't be as excited as I am. He's like, but he still gets up, right? I'm like, man, son, come on, let's go. It's time to get rocking and rolling, right? Like, go. He's like, dang, man. Like, you all excited? Right? Jeez, man. Like, you got energy drinks? Like, dang, man.
6:30.
Right. But this brother gets straight up, right? He doesn't hit the snooze button, man. Like, that stuff, man, I was just looking at that, and I'm saying that the reason why he's doing that is because of what I am instilling in him. He will be in a successful place because he's not hitting that snooze button. He's getting straight up. You know what I've realized is when you say another 5 minutes, man, that's turned into 15 minutes, it's turned into 30 minutes, and then you late for wherever you got to get to, right? I realize that. I've done that, right? I've done that. I've been, a victim of that until I just started to realize, man, let me start just getting up when I got to get up, right? Because I realized that every time that I say another 5 minutes,
keep adding more time.
you just keep on adding more time, man, and then you will look up and you be like, dang, that 5 minutes to turn into a whole hour. Like, sheesh, man. So then that's what I realized, just to get up when it's time to get up, period. If I set the alarm clock for 5:30, then get up when the alarm clock hits. Don't hit the snooze button. It ain't worth it. I'm not going to, man, offer up that extra 10, 20 minutes to my success. I'm not going to say, man, my success is worth that extra little bit of sleep. I want my success versus that little bit of sleep. And don't overlook the small things, man. Because it's going to take the small things, it's going to get you to the best places in life, right? But the same thing applies to, it takes the small things to lead you to destruction, right? So you'll do the small things and you'll be like, man, oh cool, ain't nothing happened from me just doing that small thing. I just neglected there and neglected there, but ain't nothing happened right now, right? But when that stuff starts to accumulate, and then you'll look up and you'll be like, oh my gosh, my life is hell. Why? Because you have consistently done the small things in the wrong way. instead of consistently doing the small things in the right way. Just small things. Just focus on small things to do in a right way, and that's going to get you in a successful place, right? That's what it's all about. People think that you got to do something that's big, and they always focus on the big. This stuff is small. You take small steps to get to where you need to be. But people want to look at, man, what is it that I need to do that's gigantic? You know, it's not that. So then the next thing is what?
Individuals that bring values back to the table.
Absolutely right. I want my children to be adults that bring value back to the table. Why is that? Because when my children become adults that bring value back to the table, people are going to see them to be attractive. And one thing that we know and we have discussed, opportunity comes to relationships. How do you think that I'm able to get into all of the prisons inside of the state of Ohio, in Indiana? Because of relationships. How do you think that I'm able to get my books inside of the county jails? Because of the relationships, right, that I have established with the sheriff and the people who are at the top making the decisions. That's how I am getting the opportunity. That means that when I'm not even in their presence, they are talking about me and thinking about an opportunity to present to me. A lot of things that happens for us, we don't even be in the room when it happens. That means that you can get an opportunity, or an opportunity will be denied based on what? How people perceive you. And you won't even be in the room. Somebody is having a conversation right now about you. Just think about that. Somebody is saying, man, you know what? Man, you know how many people I done been worked with in this capacity? And I'd have been thinking after I done left out of here, and I done said, man, you know what? Man, the brothers is sharp. I'm thinking of ways to put brothers in place. And you don't even know it. That's crazy. You don't even know it. You're not even in the room. You're not in my head. You don't know what I'm putting together for me to be able to present to you an opportunity. And say, brother, hey, I got some salary for you, brother. You want this salary?
Hell yeah.
When it come to you, you like, man, that came out of nowhere. It didn't. It came from what that interaction was.
Premeditated.
Because I said, man, you know what? Brothers is sharp. Man, this is, I see them to be an asset. That's why I want my children to be seen as assets, not liabilities. Because if they are seen as liabilities, people ain't going to try to attach themselves to liabilities. What they try to do is get away from liabilities. They be like, man, that brother a liability. That means you are going to drain me. And I don't want people around me draining me. I want people around me that's adding to me, that's helping me to be energized. I don't want to be around somebody that's sucking my energy. That when I'm around you, I feel depleted. So I want my children to be adults that are adding value to the equation, value to the relationships, value to the business, value to everywhere they are at. They are looking for ways to help. That's powerful. That's powerful. So, what's the last one?
Do their best.
Do your best. If they do their best in everything that they do, then I'm confident that they will be successful. All of these character traits that I am instilling into my children, it makes sure that they are in a place to be successful. If they are the right character that will warrant success, then they will be successful. It's all about the character. If they are doing their best in everything that they do, then guess what? They're going to be successful. I'm confident in that. And that's what it's about. So when my daughter is sitting up there like this, and how do? We encourage the behavior. So encouragement needs to be specific. It's telling them exactly what they did, how it benefited the situation, and how it's going to benefit them in the future. That's what encouragement is, right? So when I see them exhibiting some of that character trait that I want them to have, I'm going to encourage the behavior. So if I see my daughter, man, sitting up here coloring inside of the lines at 5 years old, and she's taking her time, and I'm like seeing what she's doing, and I'm like, wow, what am I going to say to her?
You're doing a great job staying inside those lines. Your coloring is on point, baby girl.
No doubt. Because I'm like, man, because what is she doing? She's doing her best. She's doing her best because she's really trying to stay inside of the lines. So I'm going to be like, I'm going to encourage that behavior because that's what I want her to continue to do. And then she's going to duplicate that. So now, oh my God, When she sweeps, she's sweeping like this, making sure that she gets everything up. I'm not even playing. Like at the end of the night, because man, we gotta clean up the house because it's us three in the house, and I'll be like, man, you know what? We gotta do our chores. I gotta clean the kitchen and do the dishes before I put you in the tub. My son is in the room, he do what he need to do. But my daughter, I tell my son to get to the living room. My daughter, she is sitting up there sweeping like this, making sure that she gets everything up. Why? Because she's going to do her best in what she does. She's learning that now. It's just going to get better. Because she's going to continue to try to do her best. And if she continues to try to do her best, it will become a part of her character. This stuff is a science. Because I'm intentional about what I'm doing. I'm not just guessing. I got my goals set on what I want my children to be, and I'm getting it done. When you encourage the behavior, it makes them feel a certain type of way. Good. And then it's like they chase that high. They try to get that same response again. Like, let me show you something else. I understand what I did now, so now I can do it again. And I'm going to do it again because I like it when you give me that, when you show me that encouragement. That stuff is beautiful for me. Children are always trying to please their parents. It's just crazy. You have been gifted leadership. What are you going to do with the power? You've been gifted leadership, man. What are you going to do with the power?
Right there.
No doubt. No doubt. So that's a beautiful thing, just to encourage the behavior and making sure that we accomplish the goals. And I continue to focus. Anytime that I see them do what they need to do, whatever it is, if they're making a good decision, if they say, man, you know what, my daughter says, you know what, hey, I wanted the sour Skittles, and once I realized that the sour Skittles wasn't hitting on nothing, now I'm going to avoid getting the sour Skittles now. I'm going to be like, man, that's a good decision because you're not going to put yourself in a situation that you don't want to be in. Now you are getting the information that you need. The reason why people make bad decisions in life is because they don't have enough information. So they say, man, let me get some more information. So then that's when I encourage that behavior, so that she can start to think. I just want my children to be able to think. Because if they think,
possibilities are endless.
they'll be prepared. As a father, I'm not looking to protect them. I'm looking to prepare them. Because if I prepare my children, when they are adults, they will be able to protect themselves. So I'm giving them the mind that they need to have to do what? Protect themselves. A prepared mind.
What you say as a father?
Don't look to
Don't look to protect. Don't look to protect.
As a father, don't look to protect.
Look to prepare.
Okay.
And that's almost similar to, like, I mean, it just makes the most sense, right? To prepare them, because if you prepare them, then they will be able to protect themselves. But if you protect them and don't prepare them, then ultimately they will find themselves in great danger because you won't be able to be there to protect them all of their lives. Why? Because you older, first of all. More than likely, you should be in the ground before they are, so you won't be there all of their lives. Not only that, but you won't be able to be there around them everywhere they at. So what's the best thing to do? Is to prepare. It's almost as if scripture, and I know some people, wherever y'all at, but this is what I be on. It's like when you think about it, it says, what good is it to gain the world yet lose your soul, right? Like you gain the world but lose your soul. Ultimately, you're going to lose the world that you've gained. So it's crazy. It's foolish. Why not protect my soul and then I'll get the world too? I'm gonna get the world too. Pow. So that's what that is, man, is when we look to prepare our children, that'll put us in the best place that we need to be in, and to put them in the best place that they need to be. Because ultimately, you don't want to be sitting up here putting on a cape every time that your children is in trouble, right? Because you want to live your life too, right? You don't don't want to sit up there and be 60 years old putting on a cape like, let me go ahead and save my child again because they can't save themselves. And you're supposed to be sitting up in a rocking chair somewhere or going to vacation. Like, you're supposed to be relaxing, but you got to take care of your children who couldn't take care of themselves because they don't have the proper tools and they're not prepared. Right? So then this is what it is. And that's how we get the goals accomplished with our children. Now, the next layer to establishing a strong, positive relationship with our children is none other than the art of listening. And men, this is one thing too that we will do every class is that we will go over the previous chapters. The reason why we do that is because of repetition, right? When we repeat this stuff, that's how we lock it in. So brothers is going to be like, dang, man, I done heard this. When you go to sleep, you're going to be like, dang, I done hear it. Right? You're going to hear my voice. You're going to be like, dang, man, right? So that's what it's about. It's the repetition. It's important. That adds to the learning because we're trying to learn this stuff. So then that's why we repeat the previous chapters before we go into the next chapter. So this chapter right here in establishing a strong positive relationship is none other than the art of listening, right? What's listening is the greatest part in the communication process. Why? Because nothing says that you are there for a person more than just to listen.
In your ear.
Right? That's an act where you are saying, man, you are important. Why? Because what do you get from listening?
Understanding.
Understanding, right? You get an understanding. You get an understanding when you listen to somebody. And that's why somebody can be confident that you're going to handle them in the right way. Why? Because you understand them. If I don't have no understanding of you, then I'm going to do whatever I deem necessary. I got an understanding of you now, right? But if I don't have an understanding of you, then that's when I can mishandle you every step of the way because I'm going to be giving you things that you don't want. I'm going to be giving you things that I believe that you should have. Here, take that. And you like, man, I don't want this.
I don't need this.
I don't need this. But if you listen to me, then you would understand what it is that I want, what it is that I need. What's right with me, what's not right with me. That's the best thing that we can do to build that strong relationship. And remember, the strong relationship is how we get the influence. That's how we be able to transfer information to our children. Is with that strong relationship. But we got to be in a position to where we listen, give them our ear. Listening is just saying that, man, I'm processing the information that you are saying and I'm getting an understanding from that information so then I can properly respond to my ability. So now when you tell me this and tell me that, now I see what's hot with you, I see what's cold with you, I see what's right with you, I see what's wrong with you, and I can move accordingly. That's what I can gain from listening. And then once I move accordingly in your life, now you like, man, you trust me. Respect is given, but trust is earned. I'm automatically going to give you respect because you are a human being. But I'm not going to automatically give you my trust. It's earned, right? Trust is earned. After we, man, interact, you're just like, man, you know what, dude, cool, you know what? Yeah, he's saying what he mean what he saying, you know? I can trust him to follow through. I can trust my children to follow through. So trust is earned. So we want to make sure that we are doing what is necessary to earn that trust from our children. And the way that we can earn that trust is by simply listening to them. Right? So, oh yeah.
I implemented that double up with my son.
Oh! You implemented the double up.
Yeah.
Dope, man.
When I come home, whatever he got saved up, but I'm stacking it on top of it.
No doubt, man. That's dope, man. That's what I'm talking about, man. I love that stuff, man. That's what it is, man. Like, because that stuff is going to take him to another level, right? That stuff is beautiful, man. Like, that stuff
He's
is...
excited about saving. I'm like,
Heck
hey,
yeah.
Go ahead and save that. Cause whatever, look, I told him, you get $100, you save up $100, look, daddy going to put that 100 on top of that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So now he's going to intentionally save, and it's going to become a part of his character. So then that means when he becomes an adult, he's going to have a management of money that other people might not have, who have not been able to witness the double up.
Right.
Ain't that crazy? And you can give them that. This is what we can give our children. What are we giving to our children? Man, that stuff is beautiful, man. That's what it's about, man. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. So, back to where we was at, man. When we looking at the listening piece, understanding how important it is to build that strong, positive relationship, we got to ask ourselves, what does it look like? What does listening look like? How can we show our children, or anybody for that matter, that we are listening? What are some things that we can do to show them that we are listening?
They got real undivided attention.
How do I show them my undivided attention?
By repeating back to them things that they've said to you.
Okay, good, cool. Summarize what they are saying, right? That's the first thing. That's the first positive thing that we can do in the listening process. Summarize what's being said. Good. Absolutely. Because if I summarize what you are saying, then that tells you that I'm getting an understanding of what you're saying. You know that I'm there, I'm present, right? Beautiful. What's the next?
What is being
Show your actions by your actions.
Which would be like a body language?
No, more like, what am I trying to say here? Doing the things that they're talking about. So if they come to you and say, Dad, I don't like when you XXXX, then you say, okay, honey, I have a daughter. Daddy's not going to do XXXX anymore, and you actually follow through with it.
Okay.
That might not be what you're trying to say, but
Right. But I hear what you're saying. That's the follow through after that, to let them know that you've understood what was said, right? But when we are just there listening, what are the things that we can do to show them that we are there listening? What about the empathetic facial expressions?
eye contact.
Yeah, eye contact, right? Eye contact lets that person know that we are listening. Eye contact, empathetic facial expressions. Empathy means to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. It's not sympathy, it's empathy, right? So empathetic facial expressions is saying that if they come to you and say that they had done something exciting or whatever, or they just went to Cedar Point and they was on the rise and the ride was just phenomenal, what is that empathetic facial expression that you can show them when they say that?
By your smiling and your excitement for them.
Right. And how can you show that in your facial expression?
Smile.
Yeah.
Right? Like, look. For real? Like, look at the eyebrows. For real? Wow. Right? So if they telling me about Cedar Point and they talk about how excited they are, I'm going to be like,
Be
for
excited for
real?
them.
Wow. Right? Wow. Right? Look at my facial expressions. Right? Wow. Wow. If they say, man, you know what, man, I was playing in the tree, Dad, and when I was playing in the tree, man, I fell off the dang old thing, man, when I was in camp, and I hurt my arm real bad. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna be like, ooh. Right, look, ooh, look. All of this stuff is theatrical. I'm doing things to show them that I am present. That's all that this is doing. Right? I'm showing them that I'm present. Empathetic facial expressions. Letting them know that I am there. That's it. So we talked about summarizing what's being said. We talked about eye contact. We talked about empathetic facial expressions. What else? How you feel like this when somebody's talking to you? And somebody doing this?
That they not really listening.
No, hold on. What if they just nod their head just a little bit? Like, just nod their head. It's letting you know that I'm there and I'm present.
Presence of man.
Yeah, just presence of mind, right? If I nod my head when you're talking, I'll be like, okay.
Right.
If I'm saying short phrases, what if I say short phrases along with it? Okay, no doubt, most definitely. I see. I understand. You know, like I'm just doing this to just keep you to continue to talk, just to let you know that I'm here. No doubt.
They don't really care.
Right. No, not really.
It can be vice versa though.
Yeah, not all the time.
Not all the time. You're right. But this is what we can do to still let the person know that I am present, right? Because if I'm just talking to you and you like this,
like you're zoning out, like you're thinking
Man,
outside.
I'm like, man, get out of there, man. Where are you at? Like, I'm here, man. Get out of there, man. Where are you at, man? Get out of there. Like, you zoned out, right? Like, because you're not giving me no type of response. But when you there, like, and you nod your hand, like, man, no doubt. I feel like that you are present. No doubt. Absolutely. I see. I understand. And I summarize what's being said. I'm giving you the eye contact. I'm nodding my head. All of these things can give you the confidence in me that I'm hearing and listening to what you say.
And this isn't just for kids. This is general life in general. This is when you're in a business meeting.
Absolutely right, man. Do you know that this is how I get it done? I'm talking about I go to places and be like, wow, no doubt.
Yeah.
Most definitely. Summarize what's being said. And
When you talking, we like, yeah.
absolutely. And that stuff gives me energy. And you know what it does for me? It makes me go and get more information and give it to y'all. Right? So that's what it's about. When we do that, when we are present, it gets people to bring more to the table. It gets your children to bring more to the table. And the more that your children bring to the table about them, the better off y'all will be. Because you will have an understanding of them. And they will have trust in you. And then when they get older in life, they will be bringing you stuff that need to be brought to you so you can give them the proper information to make the best decisions. You don't want them going to other peers that they are connected to get information from who don't know. You don't want them to go to the blind to get an understanding on how to make a decision. You want them to come to you. But they ain't coming to you if they don't trust that you gonna listen to what they got to say. So when they are talking, I'm like, wow, no doubt, most definitely. For real? Summarizing what's being said, right? Green Day? My son said, man, I won Green Day at school. Man, Green Day? Wow. Naming what they might be feeling. You must be excited, right? They like, yeah, I'm excited. How did you know that? You must be listening to me for you to be able to say what I am feeling. I had a nightmare. Oh, you must have been frightened. Yeah, I was frightened. For me to be able to offer up how they are feeling, then that tells them that I got to be present, that I am listening. Does any of that help me to understand more?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Does it? Because have you ever been in a situation where, you know, people say, man, you know what? Hey, man, I used to talk to my father or my mother, and they be like this, and they understood everything that I said. I can understand what you're saying like this. Go ahead and give me something, anything. Anybody, give me something.
It's cold outside.
Super cold outside.
Yeah.
Okay, give me a story.
Alright, so yesterday, they pretty much took a couple of our smoke breaks for lingering in the hallways. Some people that got their smoke break took wasn't even in the hallway. And that's the actual story that happened.
Okay, so what bro said, he said some people got their smoke breaks took in and some people got their smoke breaks took in that wasn't even in the hallway. Right? And that's actual facts. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So I understood what was being said. But are you going to be encouraged to continue to talk to me if I'm like this?
No.
Nah.
So me doing all of this stuff that I'm doing, fellas, men, it's not for me to understand better. It's for the person who's talking to me to continue to bring to me. It's not even for me. It's for them to be confident in me. It's not helping me to understand better. It's letting them know that I am here. So then that's why I do the eye contact. That's why I nod the head. That's why I summarize what's being said. That's why I do the short phrases. No doubt. I understand so then they can be confident in me when they are talking. It's not helping me understand better because we have the ability to be able to understand without doing all of that stuff. So when I'm doing all of that, guess what I'm saying? I'm bringing you another part of me. I'm giving you me. I'm letting you know that I care. Nothing says that you are there for a person more than just to listen. Why do you think that people pay $180 just to lay on the couch? That psychiatrist ain't coming with nothing real, live stuff. They just being there to listen. Why? Because we don't get listened to, and we get raised not being listened to.
Talk to him.
To when we get older, we like, man, ain't nobody listening to me. And I just want to talk about what's inside of me. But nobody has the time for us because everybody is selfish, caught up in their own stuff. That means that they thinking about what's going on with them, that they don't have time for other people, even if it's their children. They're thinking about, man, dang, man, what's going on with my relationship? What's going on with my job? They thinking about all of these different things, and when their children is in their presence, they ain't got time for them to give them that undivided attention. And not even children, other people. So to be able to get this done, fellas, we got to practice it. Because if we don't practice this, it's not going to just happen like that. We got to put in the work. So now when we even in this facility, guess what we got to do? We got to be walking around, utilizing the skills that we've learned. Walking up to people. Wow. Must be exciting. Green Day? Oh, yeah, I understand, right? Because we want to get used to doing it the right way, so when we get in our children's presence, we already got it down packed. And we like, wow, with our children, to continue to strengthen the relationships. Do you know that when people come in contact with you, they'll feel like, man, I don't know about such and such, but he just made me feel a certain type of way. He made me feel like I'm important, you know? And then they will bring stuff to you. A lot of times what people don't understand, and I usually tell staff this too as well, you don't know who is who, right? You don't know where you will be 5 years from now, 10 years from now. You can be in a position to where you got an opportunity for them, for anybody. People in here who you are bunking next to, they can be in a position that they will have an opportunity for you 10 years from now. But if you made them feel like that they was worthless right now, 10 years from now, when they got the opportunity, they're going to be like, nah, I remember how you made me feel. Because people might not remember what you have bought them. They might not remember what you have taught them, but they will remember how you have made them feel. And you can make people feel irrelevant when you don't listen to them. Even if it's just 2 minutes. I'm going to give you the best 2 minutes of your life. Wow. Must be exciting. Green Day?
No doubt.
No doubt. No doubt. I understand. It's going to make you excited to talk to me. You like, man, let me get next to this guy. Because this brother is exciting, man. Like, this brother, when I talk, this brother, listen. People just want to be listened to. How do you think that you got people who do it 24 with an L and they get somebody to marry them while they incarcerated and they never even met that person on the outside? People come to the penitentiary and marry somebody who's doing life sentences without parole. Why? Because that person in the penitentiary is like, wow, must be exciting. Green Day? I understand. And they are like, man, I never felt this valuable before. And I love that. I can't get that feeling nowhere out here. Everybody else is so busy, but you have the time to listen. You have the time to listen. This is something that we can do. It doesn't cost any money. The greatest things in life, men, don't cost money. It costs you. It costs you. It costs you your time. When you listen, you are giving somebody your time. Time is more valuable than money. Men, time is more valuable than money. Why is time more valuable than money? Because you can look in your bank account and you can see how much money you have. You can look under your mattress and see how much money you have. You can count it, but you cannot see how much time you have. Okay. You don't know how much time you have. but you do know how much money you have. So because you don't know how much time you have, that makes it more valuable
Precious, yeah.
automatically. And time cannot be duplicated just like you can't be duplicated. Money can. You see what's happening. The government saying, let me go ahead and put 3-4 trillion out there like that. They can just produce that. Can't nobody say, man, let me go ahead and put another 24 hours. Let me put another hour in a day, make it 25 hours. They can't do that. They cannot make more time. Here. I'm just playing, man. I'm just playing. Go ahead, see that little. All right. That's how real it is. I give you my glasses, man. You know. Go ahead, grab it.
He's like,
Like, hold on. But yeah, fellas, that's what it is, though. You see how important that is, though. But just imagine, just think about applying that, right, and being conscious of really doing that. And saying that, man, you know what? When I'm with my children or when I'm around anybody, I'm going to make sure that I give them my undivided attention. Right? And when you do that, that's an investment. It's all about investment. That's you planting the seed. Right? And the more seeds that you plant, the more successful your life will be. But it's just about planting your seed. You look studious, man, with that, man. I see you, man, with the glass. Yeah, man, no doubt, man. Yeah, absolutely. Nice frames you got there, man. Absolutely. Yeah, so, but that's what it's all about. It's just about the investment that we make. And we make that investment by that time that we give. There's no better investment than you can make with your children than bringing them your time. Something that's as precious as time. There's nothing better than that investment. And if you give your children your time, now you will be able to see fruits in the relationship that you desire. The relationship will be fruitful because you have invested one of your most valuable resources, which is time. Time. That's what it's about. But we got to be intentional. So that means that when they are talking about, and this is really difficult, especially when they're teenagers or even when they're young, and they talking about stuff that ain't really that exciting. You know what I'm saying? And you know it ain't exciting. They talking about, man, you know what, man, hey, man, yeah, man, this is the type of Barbie that I want my daughter talking about. Yeah, this is what it is. And she's telling me all of this stuff with my son. I'll be talking about some YouTube videos that he's watching YouTube a lot right now. And he's really into that. And I really don't be on that stuff. But I got to be disciplined enough to listen to him when he's talking about this stuff that's not really that exciting to me. I'm disciplined enough to be tapped into what he's talking about. Why? Because when it's time to talk about serious stuff, I want to make sure that I've laid the groundwork for him to come to me to talk about the serious stuff to me. But right now, that stuff that he's talking about is serious to him.
Yes.
If I don't listen to him when he's talking about the serious stuff,
He ain't gonna listen to you.
he's not going to listen to me when I got some serious stuff to say. And not only that, but when other things come in his path, he's not even going to be confident enough to bring them to me because he's going to be like, hey, this is, even though it's serious, and it might be serious to him, it was like, man, this other thing was serious too. He didn't listen to me on that, so he ain't going to listen to me on this. I'm going to take this conversation elsewhere. That's when I'm at a disadvantage as a parent. But the reason why I'm at a disadvantage is because of my neglect. Because I was absent. Because I was absent. So you see the relationships with my children, they are like that because of a reason. Because I'll be like, on it. Wow, must be exciting. Green Day? And even when you got the phone and all of that stuff that's pulling at you out here in society, I'm like, man, let me focus on you right now for this little bit of time. It's only like, it's not like they're going to just talk to you all day. But when they do talk, you want to listen. Because that will build on your relationship and it will strengthen it to a place to where you can be influential and they will trust you. It will gain their trust in you. Just because you are their father doesn't automatically gain your children's trust. It's about what we do. And when you listen, it makes them trust you. That's what it's about.
My daughter, she's like 15, going on 16, and she like girls. You know what I'm saying? And she was worried that I would take her, you know what I'm saying, would be mean or dislike it. I was like, baby, if you was a Ninja Turtle, I would love you. That's what you want to
Right.
be.
No doubt.
I'm gonna be her. It don't matter.
No doubt.
That stuff don't matter. It's what you, is that what you care for? And that's your business.
Absolutely.
That's how to talk to her.
Absolutely.
I got that line of communication. She can come to me.
Absolutely.
She's having a bad day. She'll call me. Daddy, and just say, go on, do fucking that. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
I'm gonna be the first to tell you that I got in trouble at school. They
Right.
ain't gonna call you. I'm gonna let you know. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I love that out of her.
No doubt. Absolutely. That's beautiful, man. And that's what's up, man. Like, that's what we trying to accomplish, man. That's what it's all about. Just be open with me, you know, so I can give you what you actually need. If you're not open with me, if you covering up your scars, then there's no way that I can really help you, because you covering up your scars. You saying that you okay when you're really not okay, right?
Yeah.
So when you come to me honest, because you feel like it's safe, that's all it's about. When we listen, when we do all of this stuff, it makes them feel safe in our presence. If they feel safe in our presence, that's when we can be the most effective and impactful in our children's lives, is when they feel safe in our presence. If you don't feel safe, you will go into a shell. They will go into a shell. My cousin, man, she came down, she's like about 20, my cousin about like 23 or something like that, and she was just talking, and one of the negatives about the listening process is what? Overtaking the conversation, right? Ain't that a negative? That can shut somebody down. If I overtake the conversation, if you come into me telling me what you doing, and I just overtake the conversation and make the conversation about me, that's a negative, right? That could produce the barriers. Or what about labeling? Are you stupid? Are you dumb? What about comparing? Man, there ain't no way I would have did that. Ain't no way I would have got caught up like that. That's stupid. Why would you get... I wouldn't have did that. It's like, man, I come to you telling you about me, and you gonna put yourself into it. You compared yourself to me. Or what about comparing them to their other siblings? Man, your sister doing it, how come you can't get it done? Man, that kid at school doing it, how come you can't get it done?
That'll mess up their self-esteem.
Absolutely right. And it'll create that barrier. Because you got to think how you would feel if somebody compared you to somebody else. If your wife or your spouse or your girl or whatever, they said, man, you know what? Hey, man, my ex was like romantic, and how come you ain't romantic like him? You're going to be like, man, hold up, man, what you mean? Like, it's going to create some negativity inside of you. Right. Same thing happens with our children. So we want to make sure that we don't compare, right? That creates that barrier between us and our children. So when my cousin, back to what I was talking about, when my cousin, she came down and she was talking about, man, you know, she's been coming down to Columbus from Lorain County. She's come down to Columbus and messes with, you know, her guy that she messes with. And I'm like, man, you know, no doubt, no doubt. But she told me, like, man, you know what? Hey, man, I really like this guy, but I'm like, man, he might not really be there for you. But she was telling me some stuff. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And she was, and you know, I'm like her older cousin, and she was telling me some stuff. And she wasn't, at first she was like, I don't know if I can tell you this, like, this is something like, this is like, you know, like, what I'm doing now, you know, like, I ain't the same little cousin, right? Right. You know, but when I told her, I just set up a space for her to be able to just say whatever it was. And I'm like, man, whatever you talk to me about, man, I've heard it before, it's cool. You know, so of course it had to do with sex and stuff like that. And I'm like, man, okay, cool. She's like, I never had it before, then I'm just like, want it now. Like, and I'm like, that's cool, you know? And I'm like, man, that's cool, but this is what you want to look at. So I'm able to give her some real live information off of that. but guess how I was able to give her the information too? Because she asked for it. A lot of times, right, we give, as men especially, we give solutions when they ain't even been asking for the solutions. And when you give me a solution and I ain't asked for it, now I'm like, you think you know everything. Ain't that like, man, I ain't asked you, like, why are you telling me what to do, right? I've just come to you to talk. But now, instead of me being able to talk and you just listening, you offering me solutions that I ain't asked for. I done got into a space in my mind now is that I don't even give people solutions, even if I'm like, if you ain't asking me for the solution and the answer to it, I'm just going to sit there, wow, must be exciting. Green Day? Okay. No doubt. I understand. I'm just going to do that. I'm not giving you no solutions to your problems because you haven't asked me for the solutions. And even when you say, man, you know what? Hey, Carlos, man, what you think I should do? Even then, I would be like, you sure you want me to tell you what I think you should do? Right? Because I'm telling you, I'm going to give it to you, and you might not like it, so I'm going to give it to you, though, anyway. But you asking me. You giving me the door to walk through. If you don't give me the door to walk through, what do we do as men? Especially, we bars through them. Like, our girls will be talking to us about some stuff like, man, you know what, I can't stand her, and man, you need to leave her alone. I don't know why you messing with her anyway, man. You know what I'm saying? She ain't asked you all of that. And now what that does, it creates that negativity inside of her in regard to you because you offering her stuff that she ain't asked for. You put stuff on her plate that she ain't want. Only thing that she wants you to do is just listen to her.
That's it.
That stuff is hard in the mud. It takes discipline to do that. But when we do it, our relationships be stronger because of that commitment. I don't give no solutions when they. I'm telling you, man. I done found myself in some crazy situations. I done sit up there and I'm like, man, why is there so much friction between me and this woman, or me and this? I'm like, man, this is crazy. And I started to look at it, and I'm like, man, because I be thinking a lot, and it's like, dang, I've been giving them. It's when you have an answer to something, you just want to give it to that person. And it's like, hey, this is what you need to do. Like, come on, this is the solution. But they're not looking for that. They just looking for you to just listen. And they're going to figure it out on their own. It's crazy how that works. They're going to figure it out on their own. But the only thing that they want you to do is just listen. But when I get to offering you what I think and all of that, now it's about me. It's no longer about you. And this is what makes people feel cheated. I'm telling you about some stuff and I'm like, boom, 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 boom. And then you just come in and you just take over that whole conversation. And say, man, yeah, man, I remember that I was going through that same thing. Man, you should have seen when I was going through it, how it was for me. Man, that stuff was crazy. And the person come to you telling you about their experience and they can't even get it out. Have you ever been talking and you can't get out what you talking about? And you like, how does that make you feel?
Frustrated a little.
Yeah. That's how people get frustrated. Yeah. Like, that's how people become frustrated. Because it's like, don't that make you frustrated, especially if you're trying to tell somebody about you and what you thinking and how you feeling, and then somebody gonna tell you what you thinking and they ain't even getting the information from you? It's like, how are you telling me what I'm thinking and you haven't taken the time to listen to me to get the information? You are filling in the blanks on your own. This is crazy. Just take the time to listen to me. Like, oh my God, I'd have been like that. I'm not even playing. Like, I'd have been like, man, this is crazy. You're not even listening to me, and you are telling me what I'm thinking, what I'm trying to do. Like, if you would take the time to listen to me, you would understand what I'm thinking. You would understand what I'm trying to do. But you're not taking the time to listen to me, and now you have already came to your conclusion without my information. Man, you are doomed. That's crazy. You're not going to be in an accurate place. You're going to be in a place that's not accurate. And you're creating a conclusion that's not with all of the information. Ain't that crazy?
Yeah.
How Why do we be in bad places in life? Because we done sit up there and said, oh, you thinking this. And it's like, and that person ain't even thinking that. Or you trying to do this, and that person ain't even trying to do that. But you haven't had the conversation with that person to extract the information out of that person to get a proper understanding. And now you don't have the proper understanding, so now you just go ahead and go with the understanding that you come up with because you came up with it, even though it's not the right understanding. So now you are angry at somebody that don't even know where you at. And they're not at the place that you saying that they at. Because you haven't taken the time to listen. That's where we want our children to be at. We want our children to be able to come to us and give us information so we can have an accurate understanding, so we can be in the right place. We don't want to be in, me personally, I don't want to be in a place that I ain't supposed to be. I want to be in the right place. I want to be in the right place. Whatever it is. You can tell me like, man, Carlos, man, I hate you. Okay, let me get that from you. That's cool, so I'll know how to interact with you now. But I don't want you to say that, Carlos, I don't want me to say, man, oh, you hate me, or you jealous of me. It's like, man, I don't want to come to that and I didn't get it from you. I done just came with my own past experiences. My own past experiences, and I'm applying them to you without taking the time to extract the information from you. So then that's the next layer that it takes to build that strong, positive relationship with our children. The art of listening. Nothing says that you are there for a person more than just to listen. We got to be intentional and deliberate with the listening. Eye contact, facial expressions, empathetic facial expressions, presence of mind, all of that. Man, this is beautiful. You got the notes up there, man.
Yeah,
ain't no doubt, man.
I'm locked in, bro.
No doubt. Absolutely. Ain't no doubt, man. And that's what it takes. It takes that level to be able to get this stuff done, man. You know, that's what it's all about. Fellas, I appreciate y'all. That's the conclusion of today's class.
Appreciate you, Carlos.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
We got it in, man.
Yeah, sure.
We got it in, man. Again, man. Tomorrow,
Thank you.
tomorrow I'm gonna have your completed
All
papers.
All right, thank you.
All right, and I'm gonna have your books too.
All right.
Yeah, you get books, man. You get my published books, man. Yep.
Yeah, I need
Glad
all
you
three.
came and got me.
Absolutely,
All
I
three.
got you.
All right, thank you.
I'm giving your book back tomorrow.
Okay. You almost done with it?
Yeah.
All right, brother. Tomorrow.
And I want you to sign them joints.
Are you gonna be back?
Huh?
You gonna be back tomorrow? You said?
Yeah.
You care if I read that?
What?
The book I got.
Yeah, go ahead. Pass it to Nye after you're done. Pass it to Nye.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely, no doubt, man. Tomorrow,
It's
man.
a good book.
I'm telling you, yeah, like, heck yeah, that's good stuff, man. Keep on digging in,
I told my
man.
ex-wife yesterday, I was like, you know, like when I called her last night, I was like, you need to stop yelling at them, you need to take from a different approach. I start saying something, I'm like, I'm learning this in the fatherhood class I'm taking. I'm like, it's really good stuff. I'm like, you need to
Right.
take this from a different approach and stuff and whatnot.
It's gonna be beautiful when you start to show her what you're doing over, and
yeah.
that's how they'll really be able to hear it.
I'm excited because when I get out of here, the kids are going to be with me.
No
Like,
doubt.
that's like, because she doesn't have a babysitter for them now or anything.
Right.
So that's the shit is like, I already told her, I'm like, you know, the kids can stay with me.
Right.
So things are definitely going to change.
Absolutely. Good stuff, man. Good stuff, man.
Definitely excited.
Just to apply this stuff, man. That's what it's all about,
I
man.
know.
Apply that stuff. Knowledge is one thing, the application is the next, you know. So apply it, you know. That's what it's all about, man.
Definitely will.
All right, tomorrow, man. I'll be in here.
All right, see you tomorrow.
All right, see you tomorrow, brother.